So we're in Östersund, Sweden, about 240 miles from the Arctic Circle, watching Ostersunds FK train ahead of one of their Swedish cup matches. This all may seem normal and cold, and it is very cold, but this club is far from normal. These are the giant slayers of Europe. Athletic Bilbao, Galatasaray have all come here and lost or dropped points. And it all comes down to this club's completely unique approach to football on and off the pitch.
Yeah, yeah, we are the geographical middle of Sweden, but everybody calls it as up in the north and up in the mountains. You know, we have 200 kilometers to next town, we have 250 kilometers to Norway, so we're quite isolated as a town here.
You know, the location is what it is, it's our own environment. It can work for you and it can work against you.
Known as the Winter City, Östersund is Sweden's hidden gem. The home to 50,000 free spirits and free thinkers, it's a town known more for its ski slopes than its soccer stars. Until now.
The people up here is very, very proud people. Big in sports, you know, most on skates and skis, of course. But now when football is coming, you know, everybody is a fan of the football.
This is Daniel Kindberg, the club chairman and architect of this Cinderella story.
If we start the story 2010, in the beginning of October, we were relegated to the fourth tier of Swedish football, which is as low you can go. We had a handful of players, no manager, no staff, no ideas, but we had a stadium, and we started with analysis of the football world, where we are and how we see it, what we wanted to do with the club. And after we'd done that, looked for people that could fit in what we wanted to do.
Daniel's first move was to hire a manager, and he settled on an inexperienced but adventurous young Englishman named Graham Potter.
So I arrived just as the club had been relegated to the fourth tier of Swedish football. You can imagine it wasn't in a particularly good place then. So we started to sort of say, okay, what sort of identity do we want to have here? What does an Östersund Football Club team look like on the pitch?
We come to the conclusions that football is played the same all over the world. The clubs are run by, you know, middle-aged, over 50 to 70, heterosexual, white men, half fat, quite wealthy, love power, and I'm the model for it, so I don't exclude myself. If you have that, and you can see that everybody train the same, play the same, organize the same. If we go in and do exactly the same that everybody else is doing in the football world, we will end up in a numbers game, and we will be exactly where the money takes us. And we don't have money.
If we compete on conventional terms with Swedish football, we've got no history, no tradition, no culture here. Not the finances either to attract players. So therefore you're looking for the ones that have been discarded, you're looking for the ones that conventional football will say, no, he's not good enough, or for whatever reason.
So with a group of so-called second-hand players, Östersund started their climb up the Swedish football ladder. Promotion to the third tier in 2011, the second division in 2012, and in 2015, they made their first ever jump to the Allsvenskan, the Swedish top flight. In that time, Kindberg and Potter had adopted a one-of-a-kind approach to player development. One that focused on improving decision-making both on and off the field through a culture academy, a mandatory annual art workshop that culminates with a performance in front of a huge local crowd. Its purpose? To put the entire squad and staff completely out of their comfort zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just seen the football playing, music making, love making, heart breaking, booty shaking, fist pumping, legendary OFK!
We started off with a play, that was the first year, then we went to write a book, and then we put on an art exhibition around strength through diversity. And then we went to dance, so we performed a bit of Swan Lake, which was interesting. And then we did a sort of a concert for solidarity, put on sort of a rap show.
Okay, speed it up.
Basically, it's about getting you off the comfort zone, learn to express yourself and discover other sides of you that you didn't know. It has been painful because it's not something you want to do, it's not something you enjoy, but I can understand the benefit of it.
It is the hardest thing that a Swede can do, that the Swedes also are most afraid of, more than die or relatives being sick, is to perform or talk in for others.
I don't mind playing in front of 50, 60, 100,000 because that's where I'm comfortable. But rapping and talking in front of 1,500, doing something that you stink at. When you've done it, when you overcome it, the buzz is quite high, but it's all about the bravery. Being brave out here, that's the main purpose for it.
It's hard to say, you know, what we've done off the pitch makes them pass the ball any better or shoot better or dribble or whatever. It's hard to say that, but too often the focus is on solely the football, but there's a lot going on in the brain, how we think under pressure. So if we can help with that in any way, that's what we've tried to do.
We have been criticized so much by these things in the beginning. We're crazy, we're too outspoken, we're too direct, we're too open. Now they're more and more quiet since they see that we have an idea behind it, and that's why we say that we are very eljest.
You mean eljest?
Eljest.
Eljest.
Eljest. It's a northern Swedish word for be different. And it's why Östersunds have been promoted 3 times since 2011, won the Swedish Cup in 2017, and have shattered expectations on the European stage. Thanks to that Swedish Cup win, Ostersunds qualified for the Europa League in 2017. When they drew Turkish giants Galatasaray, they thought their European dream would be short-lived. But a shocking upset at home, followed by an away draw, saw them applauded off the pitch by some of the most hostile supporters in the world. Then, another upset against PAOK of Greece sent Östersunds to the group stage, where they faced off with Hertha Berlin, Zorya of Ukraine, and Athletic Bilbao. A second-place finish behind Bilbao, who likened OFK's playing style to Barcelona, landed them in the knockout round, an inconceivable place for the club and its fans.
Every time after a game, I say this is the best game, best experience I ever had, and we just, next week is the same, next week is the same, and next week is the same. It's hard to zoom out and look at what we achieved. I think that will come at the end of the career, but it's really, for a club like us, pleasing.
When Galatasaray arrived, I was like, oh cool, a big team coming to Östersund, we're not going to win. And then we won, and then here we are against Arsenal, and right now it feels like everything is possible.
At every step of this journey, behind Östersunds has been the FALKARNA, a supporter group as against the grain as the club they love. Boasting 3 female capos, FALKARNA are unlike any group in Europe. In what ways do you think you guys reflect the club?
In FALKARNA, we think that everyone is welcome. It doesn't matter what the background you have or anything, where everyone is welcome. Exactly as ÖFK thinks.
The support is incredible. I would say they're not the typical football supporter. They concentrate on their team. They want to create a positive atmosphere in the ground. It took several hundred to Berlin, several hundred to Spain. There'll be 5,000 away at Arsenal. It's an incredible movement now that they're creating.
You can see how much it means to people that we put Östersund on the map. Not just that we come this far, but how we come this far and how we want to play football. I think it means a lot to them, and it means a lot to us as well that we have this support behind us.
We're just in the beginning of our journey in development of the club, but it has to be a parallel development of the whole club together.
When you're doing something new, when you're doing something that hasn't been done before, there'll always be people who say you can't do it. If you've got an idea, you're prepared to work hard, never give up and keep working, then you can achieve things, and I think that's probably how you can make a difference.
What we want to achieve is, of course, winning the hearts and minds of the Swedish people, but also of the European people, and then we extend that to the world, because we need people behind us. We're a small club, we're beating the numbers game, so we want to win the hearts and minds, and we want to, be a part of the process of changing the world.
What I love about this club is that it's a different type of modern football, and it's the modern football that you want to see. It's a small club using its inclusivity and its diversity to help compete against some of the biggest clubs in Europe. Football today is predictable, but clubs like Östersunds can change the odds simply by being different.
If we lose, we have to learn from that. So we always win, even if people think we lose a game.